When the last of the Union troops marched out of the South in 1877, most white Southerners heaved a sigh of relief. They believed that the economic situation would improve once the Army left. They were sorely mistaken.
Well, of course, poor whites were devastated by the war like anyone else. Much of their land had been marched over and destroyed, tools, crops, animals, bridges. Many were thrown into poverty by the war. There was a high death rate, of course, in the Confederate Army.
Northern businessmen looked to the devastated South and saw opportunity. Land was cheap, and factories quickly turned Southern resources, like cotton, into profit. But the profits went north, leaving the South in a state of poverty.
Poor whites were in a dire position, just like former slaves, and they had to try to get back on their feet. Many of them still owned their land, but land is not the only thing you need. You need tools, you need seed, fertilizer, etc. And so what they did was borrow money in order to get farming again.
Local merchants and planters lent money to these poor white farmers in exchange for a percentage of their incoming crops.
And unfortunately, in the chaotic conditions of the South, the crops failed, it was very hard to market them, and so many poor whites fall further and further into debt after the war because of this situation in the South in the post-war period.
Burdened by debt and overcome by their resentment of landowners' power, poor whites became angrier and angrier. Their frustration fueled intense racism as they sought to elevate their own lowly status by degrading their black peers. By the 1890s, the rage and indignation of poor whites would also inspire political revolt against the wealthy.